Hello everyone, this is Michael Madden again over at the Remax Unlimited Real Estate Office in Whitehall, Pennsylvania. I'm sitting here with Peter Seyler. He's going to be coaching me as I make this transition in real estate. So if you can introduce yourself to the folks out there.
Absolutely. Pete Seyler, the growth coach Allentown, owner and managing director. www.thegrowthcoachallentown.com or 484-971-4044. Excited to be here with you, Michael, and I look forward to today as a follow-up to our previous taped conversation. Today's going to be a really good and interesting session, and I think it sets the stage for ultimately where we're going to go.
Awesome. Yeah, one of the challenges I think I'm facing at this point is that I'm involved in a lot of different projects, and I get asked to do a lot of things. And it's all about me focusing on my time on the efforts that are going to yield the results I want.
Absolutely.
And I think one of my biggest challenges by far is writing down my goals and actually planning my day. Because it seems like I'm always kind of just going along without any real purpose other than, I'm meeting a lot of people. I know a lot of people. I'm, skilled at doing real estate transactions, but what's the end result and what am I trying to accomplish?
Absolutely. So what you're suffering from, a lot of entrepreneurs, people who are go-getters,
right?
Who really attack life, suffer from.
Right.
You kind of, at the end of the day, you wonder where time went.
Right.
One of the greatest drivers of your success and of any entrepreneur's success is ultimately telling time where to go. Knowing where you're spending time.
Right.
So, one of the main themes that we mentioned from very high level last time was the need to schedule.
Right.
And I quoted my old coach, the only time is now. So you're either going to do it now, you're going to schedule it now, you're going to delegate it now, or dump it now.
Right.
So there's an element of priority management there, and understanding what advances the goal, what advances your purpose, your intention,
right,
and how you're going to create value. Because keep in mind, you're in the unique space where you're not focusing on proving worth. You're focused on creating value.
Right.
And then dollars will follow value. So the theme for today, understanding that you need to schedule and need to block time, whether it's for phone work, it's marketing activities, it's sales meetings, or any other prep work. One of the pieces that I use every day is a scorecard. Okay, winners keep score.
Right.
And it's ultimately how we know if we're on track. We can be aware of where we're falling short, and it's going to help us stay focused on our goals that we're in the process of setting for the next 90 days.
Right.
So I wanted to share with you that scorecard today.
Okay.
All right, so ultimately what I do is I print one of these for every work day, and I keep them in a folder on my desk, and they're labeled with a big, sticky label, so I know I'm keeping score.
Right.
The first thing you really want to do every day is to start with a clear head. Okay? Whether you sit in a chair, lights are off, and you take a couple deep breaths, I'm a fan multiple times a week. I sit, I close my eyes, I take a couple deep breaths, and I just focus on what I'm thankful for.
Right.
Okay? Some folks assign fancy names to it. I just want to be thankful. I want to go into the day with the right mindset. Okay, and if I've done that, I give myself that point. My goal is to get as close to 10 every day, because the activity here is ultimately going to drive the results. The focus on the activity drives the end result. There's no emotional connection to that outcome.
Yeah, I think, part of the challenge for me and everybody is managing your energy levels too. Like taking care of the things, like I'm very high energy first thing in the morning. I'm up
Absolutely.
at 4 o'clock every morning, ready to go 100 miles an hour.
So embrace it.
So, yeah, and I think, understanding when my energy levels are high and when they're kind of towards the end of the day, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, sometimes I take a short nap,
and that's
just to recharge.
Yes, good. And that's going to be really important as we kind of go through this scorecard. Item number 2 that's really important to me and is going to be really important to you as we kind of progress and grow. Developing the game plan the day before.
Yeah, I agree.
So every day before you close the book on the day, whether it's from the office or whether you do it at night before you kind of pack it in, I want you to develop the next day's plan,
right,
the schedule.
Right.
And I know you have your phone. I know you carry your phone. I know you have the computer. Integrate those calendars. It needs to be one master calendar where you're blocking time.
Right.
And that it dovetails nicely into number 3. So you're blocking time for those meetings. You're blocking time for phone work. You have calls to return. You have calls for prospects or people you just want to connect with and engage.
Right.
You've got to block those sessions. Okay, they could be half-hour increments. The important piece is they go in the calendar.
No, I agree, because your day can always get away from you. And I get a tremendous amount of messages and emails and phone calls, and if I don't prioritize, it really can turn into a mess, because the reality is it's managing people's expectations. Sometimes it's not possible for me to answer all the phone calls in a 24-hour period.
You're right.
And I got to communicate that to the person that's leaving a message, like it may be a day or two
Absolutely.
before I get back to you.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
And that's good, because again,
Right.
how many occurrences or activities in your day are sink the ship type of activities? Few, right? So it's really about prioritizing. Where are you going to create the greatest win-win or win-win-win outcomes?
Right.
Where you're benefiting, the other person that you're returning a call is going to benefit, or in turn, your client or their client is going to benefit.
Right.
That's how priority gets set. When you make that outreach, when you do those activities, whatever the activity happens to be that's blocked, always lead with the why. You've got a great amount of passion. There's a tremendous amount of passion in what you're doing, whether it's connecting entrepreneurs, it's connecting people, whether it's sharing with someone a different and unique way to approach their real estate transaction. Okay, and where we're going to go a few sessions from now, if anybody's keeping score at home, we discuss some plans and some goals and how to articulate that difference, that unique value.
Right.
It's always leading with that why. Lead with that passion and what you believe. And you're going to know, and you're going to want to keep score and monitor.
No, I think that's important. Because the biggest challenge I see a lot of people facing too, like even with all these business networking events that I hold, is that how do I work for myself?
Yes.
And there are a lot of people that will buy I've seen people that were in sales and they buy a franchise and they just think because they're good at sales they can run a business, and really it's a totally different skill set, and it's a skill set that you have to develop. You have to develop different things. And most of the people that are in my world anyway are either independent business owners or in sales in some capacity, and learning how to actually transition and hold yourself accountable is the master
Absolutely.
skill that allows everything else.
Yes, and the nice step that you're taking here, and I want to commend you for this, you're taking the time and blocking the time to work on your business.
Right.
To form a strategic mindset, not get bogged down in tactics.
Right.
And what you just identified with those business owners, it's constantly working in the business, working with tactics,
Right.
not working on the business.
Yeah, because you can get caught up in a routine that feels good for the moment, but it really is not yielding any results. You're just going go, 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 and you're
Exactly.
confusing activity with accomplishment.
Yeah,
And,
it's the same people who poke their head up and wonder where the time went.
right.
So, and that's so good. It's good that you're already there mentally, because this is important as we branch into the activity pieces of the scorecard. Not just setting 90-day goals, quarterly goals, but now we're gonna also take the step of chunking it down into what is my ideal week.
Right.
Who am I talking to? How many of them am I talking to? How many deals or activities am I working on? Closing the gap is the single most important activity you'll engage in when a gap exists.
Right.
So when there's a split between what you identify as your ideal and what you identify as real, dedicating the time to closing that gap is the single most important skill you'll pick up here as we move forward.
Good.
Actively engaged in using the phone, using prospecting techniques. I want you, this is an important score here, because ultimately you succeed when you get people into the stage in your sales funnel,
Right.
the sales process, that allow you to share that unique value and get them enrolled in your
Absolutely.
offer. Okay? Seeking introductions, and this is a session that we'll do a little bit from now, is drawing the distinction between traditional referrals and introductions. I don't want you to just go out and look for names and numbers, because it's cold, it's impersonal. An introduction is about inviting someone that you know you can touch their life, and they're connected to someone that cares about, you're connected to someone that cares about them.
Yeah, that was my whole, I've been in networking for a long, long time. It started probably 6, 8, 10 years ago with B&I, and then, but my whole philosophy on referrals was that I would actually refer to the person I thought would best serve the person asking me for the referral.
Absolutely.
Not necessarily some alliance with some group that I was involved in. And that's real important to me because that, at the end of the day, they're looking at me like you referred this gal or person to me and they made a mess and they're holding me accountable in their mind,
Absolutely.
whether they say so or not.
Absolutely.
And that's my brand at risk.
Absolutely. And you've spent, I'm just going to call a spade a spade. You've spent a lot of time and a lot of energy building the quality reputation that you have here
Right.
in the Valley and beyond, to be quite frank. You're doing it the right way. You
Right.
want to connect the right people for the right reasons. Keeping in mind, though, and we move forward here in the scorecard, every interaction that you have with a client or with a prospect, are you actively moving that opportunity forward to close business or to
Right.
make a consistent introduction?
Right.
You have to measure that because that's ultimately how
No,
the results come
absolutely.
out.
Because right now, I'm sure there's a lot of opportunities I'm walking right past
Yes.
because I don't have the end goal in mind.
Yes. And it happens.
Yeah, and it's
we're
just-
human. I mean,
Right.
it happens to everybody. I mean, nobody's perfect.
Right.
Perfect's not attainable, but it's the pursuit of excellence that drives where you want to be.
Yeah, like even doing what we're doing right now in the coaching session there, I think coaching can be so valuable for a lot of people, especially me, because I am, I'm a tornado looking to land.
And that's all right.
But the reality is, unless I get my energies focused on it and what I'm trying to accomplish, it really is going to be detrimental because otherwise you just kind of go through life and not really accomplish what you're trying to accomplish. And there's a feeling of emptiness like,
There you go.
I worked all this way and what are the end results?
Absolutely.
But I didn't have a clear understanding of what I wanted anyway. And I think identifying what I want and blocking everything else out.
You have to name it in order to claim it.
Yeah. I think,
That's just the reality of business. It's the reality of life. What holds us back, and it manifests itself differently for every person. So it's not necessarily a cookie cutter. But this next item, actively managing self-limiting beliefs.
right.
So what holds us back, myself included, you, anybody out there, what's holding us back is largely self-imposed.
Right.
We're giving energy to a negative thought, a negative perception of ourselves, or perceived inability to execute on something. The same way, hey, I'm a tornado. Well, good, high energy. High energy is good. We're going to actively engage and manage where that energy goes.
Right.
And it's going to be really liberating for you.
No, I agree. I'm excited because the reality is there's nothing better than accomplishing something you set out to accomplish.
Absolutely, absolutely.
When it's just this random cloud of ideas and it's not really focused, it really
Cloud of dust.
It is, and
Yep.
you could really get things done. But the reality is that what you're trying to accomplish overall?
Yes.
What's the vision you're trying to
Yep.
accomplish?
And the last item, and this is important because you said, hey, I'm up at 4 a.m. every morning,
Right.
ready to go.
Right.
One of the greatest gifts that anybody can have is knowing the concept of hard easy, practicing hard easy. And again, that's I'm paying that one forward for my old coach. It was so important for me to take the hardest activity in my day. Okay, not necessarily the physically the hardest. I don't have to lift 1,000 pounds, but the thing I dislike, the thing that's hard for me to do, and I'm going to tackle it first.
Right.
Okay, and why this works is if I tackle the hardest item first, the rest of my day gets easier. The rest of the time is easier to work through. And for you, it's going to be that focusing. It's going to be that perspective is often going to be hard because you're shot out of that cannon and you're ready to go.
Yeah, I agree. I think that is going to be the biggest challenge.
So let's manage it, actively manage it, and being aware that it exists. And again, we're not going to turn the switch or flip the switch and tomorrow, hey, I'm 10 out of 10. I don't want you to set that expectation for yourself because I certainly don't have that expectation of you. This is a measurement where we know if we're getting 1 degree better every day.
Right.
And it's really important that we can measure that success. And quite honestly, one of the areas that I also want you to focus on as part of this process, celebrate the wins. Too often people don't stop and smell the roses and celebrate when a win happens. And this is a win. This first step is a huge win because it's putting you on that path to ultimately realize your goal.
Yeah, you know, I will tell you what's very rewarding to me is you were over at Buca di Beppo when that woman came in that
Absolutely.
her daughter had, she's a autistic child that was looking to raise money for like a seeing eye type of dog that would help her, you know, because she has, she's hypoglycemic, and I guess the dog can
there
smell.
are a number of issues of hypoglycemia, some other physical limitations that, you know, that service dog would just be so amazing.
Yeah, and she just randomly walked into our business networking group over at Buca di Beppo as a referral from Rhonda Paxton Hill, who's actually an executive over at First Niagara Bank. And she wanted to kind of get the word out about this fundraising carnival that she was having. So I invited her and her daughter and her friend in there, and then we did a little interview there. But I know, just because of how much I've learned about social media, I could get her message in front of thousands of people through a video concept. And I think we had over 1,200 people see that video. And that was just on Tuesday. And all I would tell you is that's what it is for me, having that ability to really make a difference in somebody's life.
You're a value creator.
Yeah, and that's why I do what I do. It's really not, believe me, it's not about the money. It's a lot of work to do all this stuff that's out there, but I really believe the benefit to me and everybody else is that, you can connect people in a way you couldn't even do 5 years ago. And it's exciting what's going on in the world and with technology.
Well, it is, and your part in it in the valley and beyond is not lost on the entrepreneurs that benefit from those relationships.
Right.
So, let's take that passion, let's continue to advance the ball and drive the success you want to drive.
Right.
As the segue to our next session that we're going to have in a week's time, I want to discuss and look at goal setting.
Okay.
Okay, so there's an exercise in the 90-day planner, the strategic planner, that sets the stage for us to define what that ideal week is. So our session next time is going to be reviewing goals, the bigger goals, the 90-day goals that we have, and then setting in place the activity in the ideal week to drive the result. So when you look at setting goals, okay, they have to be. Some people use the acronym SMART goals, and it became a little cliche for a number of years, but the underlying meaning is really important. So when you set a goal, and you go through and you identify them and you write them out, be specific. What is the goal?
Right. It
has to be measurable. We have to know whether it's success or failure, whether we win or we lose. It's the only way we can adapt tactics. The goal has to be agreed upon. So as we go through, we're going to discuss, hey, is this attainable? Can we work on this and achieve it together?
Right.
Because we've built this partnership now to drive that success.
Right.
Is it realistic? I make the joke all the time that, and actually you've heard me say this too, I joke probably 3 or 4 times a year, hey, it's time for a diet. And you run out and you buy all the stuff you need, you eat healthy for 2 weeks, you look down and it's 3 pounds less, and you're like, okay, forget it, pass the pie. 30 pounds in 2 weeks isn't realistic.
Right.
So when you set your goals and you look at what you want to accomplish, be realistic.
Right.
And they have to be time-based, and that's the importance of the underlying 90 days. Okay? A year's a long time to look out. We're going to chunk it down. A quarter at a time, 90 days at a time allows us to really make these time-specific goals. And we're going to know whether we're on track or not.
Awesome. So I think we are out of time.
We're there.
Good. So if you want to just reiterate your contact information.
It's almost like we planned it.
Yeah, that's good.
Pete Seyler, the Growth Coach, Allentown, 484-971-4044.
And my contact information is Michael Madden, michaelmadden.realtor if you're interested in buying or selling a house. And then also the upcoming schedule for the Lehigh Valley Elite Network is lehighvalleyelitenetwork.com. Or if you do a random Google search for social media or business networking, I'm sure it will show up in search there. So we're signing off.